Hi, my name is Joel Binamira. I have a blog called Market Manila, and we are going to be doing a series of short videos on sort of pre-colonial cooking, or essentially famous Filipino dishes that are stripped down to their most basic essence and really just explore the dishes as they probably were created, and then from there how they evolved over the years. Today I'm going to be doing Kinilaw. Just a very simple dish, but always something that people are afraid to try at home. There isn't a lot of written history about pre-colonial food, obviously. I mean, the earliest history that's been written, to my knowledge, is sort of the tales and the chronicles of Pigafetta when they arrived. So in 1521, they already said that we had coconut milk. In fact, many forms of coconut milk. We had sort of coconut vinegar, and in fact, tuba, or coconut liquor. We clearly had salt because we were preserving food. And we may have had ginger and onion as well, but that's not clear. And we definitely had dayap, or local limes, or calamansi. So starting there, we know what the starting off point is likely for Kinilaw. Let me just talk about the fish first. So the fish obviously has to be extremely fresh. Some people like to do it chunky so that it's a meaty mouthful of fish when you're eating your Kinilaw. Other people will cut it a little bit more thin and wider. Coconut milk is a Visayan addition, and it adds a little bit of creaminess and sweetness to the dish. If you're worried about cooties, if you think that maybe it needs to be cleaned, never wash your fish in water because it can affect the flavor. Take a little bit of coconut vinegar, kind of massage it into the fish, and immediately drain it. The ingredients are very few and far between, so it's really the attention to detail. On the ginger, you want to cut it in a julienne that is extremely fine because you're going to be eating that julienne ginger raw. Secondly will be the onions, which I'm using shallots, which are much smaller onions. Siling labuyo. Also very important for me is dayap, if you can get it, because it brings that citrus floral kind of taste to it. So let me start by putting in some of each. And I know you're gonna ask for measurements. I never measure. I do this by feel. And as much chili as you want. You want to put the lime and the vinegar on those ingredients for 1 or 2 minutes before you make your Kinilaw. You want to start cooking the onions and the ginger a little bit so it's not so harsh. And just mix that up, and they're gonna start softening and cooking. You take grated coconut. Most people add water, or if they have really strong palms, they try and do it without water at all. You start to squeeze it by hand. The final pro tip is to use one of these market net bags. So then you just twist it around. The ginger and the onions and the chilies have been marinating in vinegar and salt for about 2-3 minutes, and they're now starting to soften and mellow their flavors. And now you can add the other ingredients. Then the coconut milk mixed with vinegar, and you kind of want to coat it, but it doesn't want to be drowning in it either. So you can already see that right now the cooking has started, and you really only want to cook it for 1 minute or 2 at most. I kind of like to add a little greenery with cucumbers, but that's definitely a 1980s onwards addition. It's to give it volume and a little bit more heft to your Kinilaw. And the only way to know is to test it. It's good. So the pre-colonial era, I think you'll have to remove sort of the cucumber. and possibly the tomato. But you likely would have had almost everything else except the chili. This is a dish that has to be eaten almost immediately. And there you have it, in like 10 minutes, kind of upscale kinilaw, but really, if you're talking about kinilaws from a few hundred years ago, it was all about the fish, all about the salt, and all about the vinegar. So as you go from north to south, the variations include coconut milk, sometimes maybe turmeric, or they add a little bit of sugar. What you should have is really like sushi coated in a sauce of coconut cream and vinegar with a little bit of the ginger and aromatics that are in your sauce. It should be fresh, it should be light. It's an excellent starter to your meal. And don't be intimidated. Do this at home. It's a great dish for you and your family and friends.